Good morning, good evening. Hope everyone is well. Let's get into it. So, as always, starting with our warm-ups. Now, most people with the videos are very familiar with these, so one of the things to look for is our breathing. So, breathing out on the way down, breathing in on the way back. So, breathing out, breathing in, nice and slow. And also breathing in through our nose, breathing out through our mouth. So breathing in, breathing out. So breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. In through our nose, out through our mouth. Tongue on the hard palate just behind our top front teeth. And for some of them like this, like the shoulder rolls or when we do our forearms next, we don't have any particular sort of breathing pattern that you have to do, which is different here. But one of the things to be aware of is just watching myself and checking I'm not going too fast. Okay, and one of the things to be aware of is that breathing. So it's very easy to be thinking while we're doing our Tai Chi and our Qigong and everything else, and thinking about, our day or things we need to do or have we got enough time, stuff like that. So it's not a hugely long practice. It's not like, some people I know that, jog for 2 hours in the morning or go for hikes or stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be. It's supposed to be short and effective. We're not skipping anything. It's usually 15 minutes, 20 minutes when I do it by myself. And that's all it needs to be. But as I've mentioned, and I'm sure you guys and everyone is aware, it does go through every major organ and meridian system in the body. So it's designed to be short and effective. It's not supposed to be something that's like a big marathon that takes a lot of time. But I guess my point is the thing that makes it effective is staying with it and actually having that mindfulness component by concentrating on what you're actually doing and concentrating on the breath, not on, thoughts, what you need to do, work, worries, all that sort of stuff. So if that's coming into your head, it's okay, accept it, don't fight against it, you haven't done anything wrong, don't beat yourself up, that'll make it worse. First step, accept it, breathe, and follow your breath. So come back to the breathing. So as much as you can. That's why I talk about breathing in and breathing out all the time, because that's what we need to be following and doing as much as possible. And I'm talking about that during the warm-ups because we're all very familiar with the warm-ups and the breathing patterns. And so I can have time to talk about some of the finer points and some of the, if you like, overarching principles. Okay, so let's get into our Qigong. So starting off with our liver exercise. Feet together, we come up on our tippy toes and look to the right or to the left. So we breathe in on the way up and breathe out on the way down. So nice and slow. Breathing in and then breathing out. So this is a liver exercise. So breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. If you need to, what I would suggest is taking a video of yourself, especially from the side. So take it sort of from the perspective of looking at, one of your shoulders, not necessarily straight like I do here, because you'll see where you're overbalancing a lot easier. You'll also notice your posture a lot easier, particularly, how you're standing and how your neck is. And that's usually where we overbalance and find it difficult. Okay, so this is our other lever exercise. So breathing in the way up, squeeze and breathe out on the way down, releasing the squeeze and breathing in, and then breathing out and back to our center and in and out. This is one that we've been incorporating in most weeks, so I'm sure you're very familiar with it. Excuse me. So, as I mentioned earlier, the other thing is, throughout the practice, it's not something that we need to be sort of doing mechanically. Like, you'll get a lot more out of it through that breathing aspect, but particularly through the feeling aspect. So where, notice your body, notice how your body's feeling, notice aches and pains, soften into them, accept them, love them. Notice your tiredness or frustration, and have that, I would call it an attitude of allowing and accepting, even if you don't want to. It's probably sounds a bit weird, but if you're someone that, finding it difficult with whether it's physical injuries or perhaps things like tiredness or fatigue or feelings, the worst thing we can do is fight against them, because that gives us something extra to work through, which is that resistance. And it also tends to inflame things like chronic pain or pain, and it also tends to make things like psychological difficulties worse. So you can do some research on that. There's also research on the website, but the short version is acceptance as much as we can. It doesn't mean pretending that it's okay, it just means that, okay, this is how it is. And breathing and accepting is incredibly powerful. Okay. So that's our kidney exercise. Breathing in on the way up, palms forward, breathing out on the way down. Squeeze for 3, no air in our lungs. Breathe in on the way up, breathe out on the way down, and then breathing in and breathing out. And you don't have to just take my word for it. Check it for yourself. Notice what happens when you fight against an emotion. Does it actually stay around for longer? I am certain you'll find that. So breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. And pretending everything's peace and harmony when it's not is the same problem. So acceptance doesn't mean, hey, it's all okay, let's turn it into a positive. It just means this is how it is. Okay. I don't have to like it, I don't have to pretend that it's okay or that it's lovely, but fighting against it won't help. So breathing in and breathing out. This is our lung exercise. I'm just checking that I'm recording. Yes, the camera is going. I have had one a while back where I thought, I'm sure I'd pressed the button, but it hadn't quite registered my tap. And so I went through for about 10 minutes and it hadn't recorded anything, which was quite funny. So this is our kidney exercise, breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. So, and then what we do is we just change it out to the sides. So breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. Think of it like your hands are on the top of some waves that are moving up and moving down. So we're not just kind of like pushing our hands around, where actually it's a bit like an energy that moves itself up and down. Your hands just happen to follow it, like an ocean wave. It's gently moving up and moving down. So breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. And then just back to the center. You'll usually find we do 6 for that. Okay, as always, if you've got any questions, send me a text or email me. Always happy to answer questions. So this is our heart exercise, a different heart exercise. So we're breathing in on the way up, all the way up. Breathing out as we come down, our palms almost touch at heart level. Breathe into our shoulders, breathe out on the way down, breathe into our center, and then breathe out. So things to watch out for that I notice in class: we don't actually look up with this exercise. Our gaze in our head is always straight forward. The screen just went off on my computer. It's not supposed to do that. Sorry, and I got lost what I was talking about. Okay. And the other thing is, just nice and slow. So it's very easy sometimes when we're stressed or when we're doing this before work not to give ourselves enough time, or to be sort of caught in doing it quickly because we're kind of in the back of our mind worried about getting stuff done. So breathing out on the way down, breathing in on the way up, breathing out the way down, breathing in and out. So as much as you can, it's okay, I get it, but come back to the practice as much as you can and focus on what we're doing. So breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in and out. So this is our spleen exercise, a little bit like the kidney exercise, but also a bit different. So breathing in the way up, breathing out the way down, breathing in, out to the ground, breathing in up to the sky, breathing out on the way down. Okay. So nice and slow, nice gentle movements. And the other thing that I notice when I watch people doing this exercise is they're not moving their whole body. So you notice that I'm not just moving my arms, I'm moving my body up and down with the arm movements. That's very important. That's particularly what separates it from other things like the heart exercise or the other exercises that we do. Okay, so on to the Tai Chi. Shifting our weight to the right, stepping out with our left. Hands circle around at navel height, coming back together and also drawing that foot back together. We push down, drawing up, and then coming back down. Circling around, outwards, right hand forward, circling up, and then drawing that left hand back and that right hand back. So just some finer points. We collapse our right hand, trace over with our left, and we step out to our right. Realize that we're out of camera shot and change where we're standing. Palms towards us, circle down, around, and draw back to our rice bowl. Remember to point that right toe. Push out with the backs of our hands, draw back, point our toe, circle round, Push out with our palms. Draw back. And pivot our right foot and then our left. Above our head, as you can see, my right hand forms a beak. Left hand forms a wing. I'm just checking that you can see me. There's not much point doing it if you can't see that my arms are straight, and I've cut my head and particularly my arms out of the shot. And it's hard to see because it's a bit glary where I'm having to do this. So at the same time you actually bring that left foot in and ground that left hand, but I've broken it up so you can see what I'm doing a bit easier. Stretch my right wing, stretch my left. Step out. Just checking you can see, so that's my left hand, my right hand's in front. And so for this next bit, that's how you move the hands. So it's kind of like the right comes and then moves on top. Left moves to the bottom, and then we step forward with our left foot. But that's all at the same time. So right hand's on top, left hand's down the bottom, and left foot has stepped forward. We then move our right out to the right. Again, that's my right. Left out to the left. And then twist so that our right is on the bottom and our left is on top. And we've stepped back with our left foot. So that's all happened at once. We then collapse those hands together. Twist so that our right is on top. Ground our left hand. Stretch out with our right. And we're not falling forward, that's why I was doing that weird movement there. Reach out, come back. Right toe on the ground like so, right fist under our left hand. Left hand's a bit like a stop sign. And then we do our swishy swashy thing, or you could think of it as an infinity symbol, which it is. And so it's a close hand movement. It's quite tight, and most of it, as you can see, is from the wrist. So I like to think of it as moving my pinky and then moving my index. So moving my pinky down and up, and then moving my index down and up. So pushing down, starting again, shifting up, coming back down, circling out and around, right foot forward. It's quite glary, so I'm checking that I'm in the shot. So hands are quite extended, not close to us, extended out and not too far. So there's a slight bend on our arms, just a slight. You want your palms at shoulder level. It's a spear thrust, so that's what you actually do with it if you're using it in a martial arts sense. Palms towards us, circle down and around, and check your back foot. So we shouldn't be falling forward. Our back foot and our feet should always be planted on the ground unless you're lifting them. So in these kind of movements, you want to check that your entire foot is on the ground. So that's something that I noticed at my live class on the Saturdays. And this is why it's important to either have someone watch what you're doing or to video it yourself or have a mirror. It makes it so much easier. And so for this movement, it's literally like your hand is tracing over your wrist. So it's like it's going completely over that wrist. So left hand tracing over your right wrist all the way around, and then your right hand comes out. So trace over all the way around, and then our right hand comes out for that spear thrust movement. So right hand collapses, left hand traces over the wrist all the way around, and that's our spear thrust. Move back so you can see me, there we go. So again, not leaning forward, not leaning backwards. You should be back very straight, head very straight, upright. And we move back to our rice bowl, remembering to point that right toe up. Push out with our hands, circle down, and push out with our palms. Apologies if any of this practice is a little bit quicker than usual.
I have a lot going on in the background. I also have a 4-year-old running around, so it's been a little bit difficult for me to keep the pace slow. I hope I have, but in watching this, it is a little bit faster than I would want. So just bear in mind, I had a lot of difficulty finding the time for this video this week, mainly because every time I wanted to do it, it started raining, and I couldn't do it out here because the rain was just driving through and would have hit my camera. And I would have got wet, which wouldn't work. And it's been raining up until about Wednesday, and then I've had work and other things. Anyway, so stepping out, right hand in front, and then right hand on top for our tiger, wrestling our tiger. Left hand on top, collapse, twist our palms so our right's on tops. Then we can ground our left hand, which balances us as we stretch out with our right, and so forth. Okay, so just our warming down exercise, closing down. So breathe in, breathe out as we step out, breathe in as we bring our arms up, breathe out as we turn our palms up. Breathe in and hold for 3, 3. Breathe out, reverse what we just did. Breathe in, breathe out, smile at our 4-year-old, breathing in and breathing out. Fantastic.